This is a very, very important message, I think, for humanity to hear. And that is that anything is possible. Now, what do you think when you hear such a statement? Probably you've heard it before from other people. They say anything is possible. There's a tendency to ridicule or mock that statement. We all have prejudice somehow concerning things. This is one of them, concerning our potential. If a person says anything is possible, you might be inclined to reason that this is not true. Because if you look at your own life from a purely physical point of view, we're only here temporary, so achieving certain things, for example, you could reason is impossible, or it's not going to happen within this time span that you're here, which is true, and this is what we're getting at. If anything is possible, how is that possible? Well, let's look at it. You got life and death. They are two polar opposites of each other. But what is death? What is it? It's just transitioning from form. It's energy moving into form, out of form. Consciousness moving into a body called living. Consciousness moving out of the body called dying. But what is dying? Well, the body. The body returns to dust. Where do you go? Where does your consciousness go? Who knows, right? It's hard to pinpoint exactly where it goes. Similar to as when you're dreaming, and especially if you have a lucid dream, or call it astral projection, whatever you want to name it, when your consciousness is not locked inside the vessel called your body, anything becomes possible for you. Even science talks about this field of infinite possibilities. Now we want to realize we can connect to that field ourselves. We're actually already connected and part of that field. But right now, because of the way our consciousness is focused, usually the only thing we consider is what we are right here, right now, and then we're talking about our name and our body. This is something that in deep meditation I realized yesterday as well. I was like, as I'm laying here, I want to know the mysteries of consciousness even more. What happens as we fall asleep is that we become unconscious. Somewhere between so-called waking and dreaming, we fall unconscious. We lose our awareness temporarily. Our awareness of being, of what we are, which is simply a form of awareness hooked up to a bigger field of awareness called the universe itself. So we become unconscious, and therefore once we start dreaming, supposedly, we're still unaware. We're literally unaware that we're somewhere entirely else. It's only once you wake up on reflection, you're like, oh, I had a dream. It was either a good dream, a bad dream, a strange dream, a scary dream, whatever. Yet in those realms where you're supposedly dreaming, all things become possible. Now I think the trick to life for us individually, no matter how long it's going to take for us, is to become aware of this inner world. Because through the physical world we have these temporary goals, these distractions in a way as well, where we want to achieve stuff, but people can become frustrated if they don't achieve them. They feel that they failed their lives, which they have never, because your life is eternal. It doesn't matter what you achieve in this physical dimension, because it's temporary. This is the realm of time and space. So no matter what you got, you only have it for a little while and then you gotta let it go. How then do you understand the immortal nature? It's by becoming aware of the inner realms. It's by daring to accept the idea that your dreams are taking place in a different dimension altogether. And you're hooked up, you're connected to that. A multi-dimensional being, right? This is what I talked about as well. You exist in multiple dimensions all at the same time. Why am I making such claims? Because this is what the universe is revealing to me every time I go within my own mind. Have you ever gone within your own mind? Many people don't do it. They're only focused on what they can get on this physical side of life. Which is okay, because it should be alright. You should have a nice life, physically speaking. Because otherwise, how could you enjoy the journey to begin with? Well, it might become a lot harder if you don't enjoy what you got or what you're doing with your physical life. But we don't want to make the mistake that just because something seems impossible on the physical side of life, doesn't mean it's truly impossible. Because once you close your eyes and wake up in the inner worlds, and you step out of your body, literally, all things become possible, because then you have direct perception of the field of infinite possibilities that lies hidden away from the physical sense of sight. Just let that sink in for a second, because this is your world, this is my world. We're part of a giant field of possibilities. Now, as I'm sitting in this room right now, I'm looking at my window, I see a blue sky. It's very sunny outside, it's a very nice day. Now I see all these buildings out there as well, and I could reason to myself, if everything is possible for me, could I change this physical reality around just by looking at it? Because this is where people are going, and this is where they also get trapped and distracted. You see, what you want to realize is that this physical dimension of time and space, the way it operates, is that it is a shadow world. So whatever you can come up with inside your own consciousness, somewhere, whether it's this dimension or another dimension of our being, somewhere, somehow, it will always become a reality for you. So you can alter your current reality simply by altering the structure of your mind, by changing the concepts around of what you're working with within your own thinking, within your own emotions. So let me try and explain this differently again. Like last night in my meditation, what I realized is we're so strongly identified with our name and our physical body. We're identified with the family we supposedly right now have, with our job, with our income. We're identifying only with stuff that is already part of this temporary life experience of ours. What we want to focus on is the eternal side. Now this is all ties into these laws of polarity. You know, an up and down, left and right, hot or cold, temporary, eternity. What is the opposite of something being temporary? Well, that is fixed, that is permanent. Alright? So your life experience right now, it's temporary, but by the law of polarity that decrees everything has an opposite, you want to discover the permanent side of yourself. Have you ever considered this? If everything has a polar opposite, why not this part of our existence, right? Why would we assume that just living this temporary life is all there is? Well, I think it's because of ignorance, right? If we don't know better, if we haven't had the experience of waking up in the other realms of life, the other dimensions to which consciousness can move, well then it isn't strange that many people also are of the belief that there is nothing else. That right now what they're witnessing is all there is. To me, I always thought that was a strange way of living, of looking at life. But of course, these same people might think my way of looking at life is strange and odd and ridiculous. For me personally, what I always sense is, if I hold my hands in front of my face and I look at them, I'm like, it's so bizarre that I'm even seeing this arm and this hand attached to it, and I can move it around, I can touch things, I can grab stuff in this physical dimension, I can put it down, I can do all sorts of stuff with this so-called body, yet the awareness still remains as if I'm looking currently through the body, like it's not really the real me. Now this sounds kind of bizarre again for most people, but this is where I'm at, always questioning my own consciousness. What is consciousness? What is it all about? Well, the beautiful thing is, it's about discovering that all things are possible. And this means that there is a lot possible on the physical side of your life once you become aware of your own consciousness, of your own power of awareness. But what's even greater is that even beyond the grave, it keeps going on and on. Now, where are you going to go? This is a fair question. Where are you going to go once you die? Well, I have one thing that I can tell you right now, and that is, you will go, you will experience whatever you decide you want to experience. That is the beauty of it all. It all depends on your own energetic makeup. It depends on how you are thinking, how you are imagining. So, if you haven't learned to exercise that control while you're in this physical life experience, odds are, if you drop a debt, supposedly, with the body, right? If you drop a debt, don't take it too serious or don't find it scary or whatever. Well then, if you haven't exercised that control or trained yourself, odds are you're gonna go on in the spirit realm on automatic pilot. And this, depending on how much you're in love with the world of physicality, might sort of focus your consciousness back into this dimension all over again with a new body, quite literally. Now, when does all things become possible? Well, they become possible once you become more and more familiar with the inner worlds through which you exist, because there you have a lot more power for manifestation than you have on Earth, because time and space disappear. Everything happens all at once. You just think of it, it happens. How do I know this? Because I've experienced it literally in the first person, present tense. I'm not joking. I've experienced those dimensions once the body was asleep. And now I'm here to tell you about it, that you can experience it for yourself if you make the effort to go within. And these videos again are all hinting, sort of planting seeds in your consciousness, hoping that you yourself will take the ideas and let them bloom within the depths of your own being, so your own soul essence will guide the rest of the way to show you that all things are possible. Even if you don't achieve it physically, your life is not over once your senses cease to register this world. Now, with that being said, dear viewer, always remember that we are the dreamers.